Hello, everybody, and welcome to the SNS Winter Challenge for Charity Championship at Iowa. I am Tyler Newitt. Alongside me in the commentary booth tonight here on Apex Racing TV is going to be Marco Barbanera, an accomplished Skip Barber oval racer in his own right. And he will also be running the cameras for us tonight. So it's going to be a busy night for you, Marco. We've got the Skip Barber Formula 2000 cars on the oval here at Iowa. We've got some fun heat race formats to set the field for the feature. Everybody's going to make the show, but we are going to see some heat races, consolation race, and the feature. So should be an exciting night of action. And you were regaling me with the tales of your successes in the Skip Barber cars at ovals. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how the drivers are going to have to handle these cars around the Iowa Oval tonight?
Well, first of all, thanks a lot, Tyler, for the introduction. Even though I think it's a bit exaggerated, but yeah, I mean, I think there is nothing better than driving a Skippy on an oval, on a short oval. To be fair, in iRacing, it seems so easy on paper, but when you actually go ahead and do it, my God, it's so difficult. You have to really be on a knife's edge, basically, and the car likes to slide a lot. I think these drivers are in for a great one. And I think that most of the races I've done in leagues were on flat short ovals. Here in Iowa, the drivers will have to contend with quite a bit of banking. I always call this the world's smallest super speed. This is, incidentally, my favorite oval of all times, especially with my beloved IndyCar. So, perfect combo, in my opinion.
I can't disagree with you there. To be honest, Marco, I don't think I've been a part of a bad race at Iowa. It seems like you always find yourself in a battle with somebody at some point. I know I did a lot in the what's now the ARCA series cars. Ooh, we see that is, I believe, Adam Wright going for a spin there on his qualifying attempt. But in what is now the ARCA car, I did a lot of races at Iowa there, in some open wheel stuff as well. The old Pro Mazda, the IndyCar, of course. I have an affinity for sure for open wheel cars on ovals. I think they don't get enough appreciation, and certainly the Skip Barbers, even though they may be one of the open wheel cars that was never really meant to be raced on an oval, they certainly are fun to drive as we see the cars hanging it out. Those rear tires don't make a lot of grip, and it makes for some very interesting lines through the corner, and we're going to see some excellent side-by-side battling tonight, I have to believe. Drivers, that you see on your screen right now, they're just completing their qualifying laps. They've got 5 minutes to do 2 laps, the standard standalone iRacing qualifying format. After that, the field will be split in half into 2 heat races, which will be 10 laps. The top 6 drivers from each of those will set the first 6 cars on each of the rows of the grid. And after that, we will have anybody who's left in the consolation race, which will set the back half of the field for the features. So everybody gets through. This is a charity race after all, so don't want to be excluding anybody, but we will see a quite exciting qualifying procedure through the heat races here today. There is Chris Herrera, I believe, on your screen right now in that vibrantly liveried car.
I am in love. If we have like a break later, I will show you that for so many years my IndyCar livery was half and half, magenta on one half and blue on the other. This is a bit lighter blue than mine, but given that IUI was usually even in top split with the Indy car, I was, and still every once in a while, if I manage to get in there competitive, it brings a tear to my eye. It was.
So we can comfortably say that Chris Herrera is running a Marco Barbanera tribute livery tonight.
I would hope so.
I mean, who wouldn't want to argue almost Milwaukee winner Marco Barbanera?
Exactly. Here we see like a pepperoni pizza, I think, which by the
that
way,
is
pepperoni is not a thing in Italy. I should always remind you. And if you ask for pepperoni, it's usually capsicum in Italian, you know. So bell peppers.
right. Yes.
No, nothing to do with salami.
Not what most Americans would expect if they ordered a pepperoni pizza in Italy. So it is a mostly American field here tonight. We do have, at least according to iRacing, one Canadian, that's Dan Pagowski, and one Australian, I believe, who is Scott Dawkins. So we will get ready to go here. We are already set up for and gridding for the first heat race here. Mike Bowers has secured the pole position. He will line up next to Jeffrey Decker. Chris Herrera in that Marco Barbanera tribute livery will start in third. Carter Stickney will start in fourth. Sammy Bridges fifth. Carrington Wilmer in the final transfer spot to get directly into the feature will start in sixth. Jake Ashe will start in seventh. Connor Tolman in eighth. Scott Dawkins starts ninth. And Carl Drunka will start 10th. Now, I thought I saw Carl pretty far up the order in the practice session that we had earlier on. So maybe one to watch here today to see if Carl can work his way through this field. Obviously, a smaller field in the heat race than we would expect to see in the feature, but definitely going to be a challenge to work your way through in these cars and to maintain position, Marco. It's one thing to get to the front. You know, I think everybody is going to be kind of right there together in one big clump, but but by that same token, it's very easy to suddenly find yourself shuffled out and dropping back through the order and maybe out of the transfer positions.
Especially because I think that if we are using iRacing's default rules for oval racing, we are going to have no cautions during these 8 races. By the way, 2 pace laps, if memory serves me. Oh, the new iRacing pace car.
The generic sedan, yeah, making its debut here in the SNS Winter Challenge.
You know, I didn't know that the generic meant a Ford at the front, BMW at the back looking car, but...
I thought the back looked like the current Toyota Camry, actually, and the front looked more like an Audi to me. So they've done a good job of making it just generic enough that nobody can quite picture what it is. But yes, it is certainly there and pacing this field around. I think you're right, Marco. I think they will get, indeed they will get a second pace lap. But the lights are off on that generic pace car now. We see the 13 car of Jeffrey Decker aggressively warming his tires. But should be interesting to start here to see, especially to see if anyone's able to really break away from this pack. Obviously, Mike Bowers, your pole sitter, your quickest qualifier here today. But there was really not much in it at all in the time.
There was not, and basically the only slow qualifier was the driver you were talking about. I think apart from him, the whole field was 0.6 of a second, which is not really much. Let's go racing. I think we are good to go here from Iowa.
We see the pace car pull off and wait for the jump. There it is, I believe. Yes, Mike Bowers is gone. These cars don't accelerate particularly quickly, Marco, so it's a bit tough to tell when the leader's made his jump, but he has. Mike Bowers into turn number 1, has a clear shot, and it looks as though Chris Herrera is going to clear Jeffrey Decker for second as well. So all that tire warming has done Decker no good on the start. He finds himself all the way back in 4th position already as the pepperoni pizza car of Sammy Bridges now makes the move for second. A big wiggle for Chris Herrera there. Really easy to get these cars out of shape. In fact, they basically go through the corner out of shape, and all you're doing is trying to make sure that they don't get too out of shape. as they are 3 wide for 4th position. That
Look
is
at
Connor
the
Tolman, Carter Stickney, and Chris Herrera.
look at the loss of momentum for Herrera. I mean, he was fighting for the lead at one bad corner and he's still trying to recover, dropping like a stone.
Yeah, Marco, they are really going at it. And just as we expected, nobody is breaking away. So bearing in mind that to directly transfer to the feature and lock in your starting place. Oh, that is a hard hit for Herrera. And the Marco Barbanera tribute livery is out of this one early. So it'll be a consolation race appearance for Herrera. Still leading the pack is Bowers. The current transfer is Wilmer, but that is sure to change about 12 more times before this race is over. That was a big slide. I believe that was Jake Ache in the 77 car. And
someone is missing a bit. Huh?
Yeah, that is Carl Dronka. So no right front wheel for Carl Dronka, and that is, well, that is going to end his chances of getting through, I would have to imagine. He will be able to come down pit lane and get that fixed, but that's certainly going to hurt his attempts to transfer. Oh, big wiggle there from the 222. That is Connor Tolman. He got all sorts of sideways there, did a really good job to hang on to it, to be honest. But now 3 wide for the race lead. Sammy Bridges in the pizza car really sending it around the outside. Difficult to do, and I think at least early on in the run before tires really start to come into play, that's not going to happen. Even with the progressive banging at Iowa Speedway, it's pretty tough to make it stick around the outside in these cars. But he has set himself up well here as they head into turn number 1, looking into the inside of Jeffrey Decker for 2nd, and he was having a think about 1st as well, but Bowers shut the door on that. They go side by side for 2nd down the back stretch. Bowers leading them into turn number 3. And that is Connor Tolman in behind them, and he is really... I saw him have another sideways moment into turn number 3, not quite as dramatic as the last time around, but certainly seems like he is on the edge of his seat in that car right now.
Oh, and you need to be careful here at Iowa with every car. That yellow line is basically like soap. You don't... Many of my IndyCar races here I've ended by even looking at that yellow line. So with the Skippy maybe you can get away with it, but you can see how much Wilmer pushed Tolman pushed I when we were on board with him. As 3 laps to go, you can see Bridges trying to push his way into the second place. They need to be careful. There is no need to throw away a good finishing position. In order for 1 or 2 spots more on the grid. But of course, when you are there in the battle, easier said than done.
Exactly. There's no prizes for getting 1st place in your heat race besides the glory of finishing 1st and starting out front for the feature. But no reason for these drivers to push any harder than they need to and cause themselves some trouble and find themselves starting at the back for the feature, which is what really matters. Of course, I say all that. There is an award for the driver who gains the most places in the feature race. So there is something to be said for somebody starting in the back of the feature. That is a $5 iRacing credit. That also goes to the entire podium and the driver who has the cleanest race. So some prizes on offer, not to mention the charity donations, which we will talk about a little bit later on. But we are on the final lap and in the final corner. It looks pretty solid here. I don't think we're going to see anyone challenge Bowers. He has been dominant. They are 3 wide across the line, but Bowers does secure the win ahead of Bridges and Decker, and that transfer spot is going to go to Stickney by 1/1000th of a second. Over Dawkins. So really close racing there, but Dawkins will have to head up the field in the consolation race, and we head right into heat number 2. So no time to catch our breaths here. Here is the finishing order from heat number 1. Mike Bowers, your race winner. Sammy Bridges in 2nd, just a mere 3/4 of a tenth of a second behind. Jeffrey Decker comes home in 3rd, a further half a tenth back. Carrington Wilmer, excuse me, comes home in 4th. Connor Tolman 5th. Carter Stickney in 6th. The last of our drivers who will start, who have locked themselves in, excuse me, to a starting position in the feature race. Scott Dawkins comes home 7th. He will lead the field in the consolation race. Jake Ashe in 8th. Carl Dronka 9th. And Chris Herrera, who we saw have that big wreck, comes home in 10th. It'll be 9 cars in the second of our heat races. Jack Moffitt will lead the field to green. Chris Smorall will start in 2nd. Sean Trediak will start 3rd. Adam Wright in 4th. Walter Kalata in 5th. Joe Zubovich in 6th. Steve Dewar in 7th. Dan Pagowski 8th. And Peter Lee in 9th. Now, Marco, I saw Adam Wright topped the practice session, but only managed to qualify 4th. So would imagine he's got a pretty good race car and expect to see him moving his way forward.
I absolutely agree with you. And I know that, if you... Oh, we need to be careful there with some drivers already, trying to warm up their tires, Tyler. But, of course, locking up and this could be... Again, I've had my fair share of wrecks under caution. Also with the new smoke, I've seen that we are not NR 2003 levels, that, when you span in a corner on an oval, the smoke stayed there for 10 laps. But some drivers are already saying, oh, there's too much smoke when you spin. No, guys, you haven't raced NR 2003 to say that. I'm sorry.
I have to say, I love the new smoke. I was doing a GT4 race at Hockenheim, and the field spun in front of me. I couldn't see anything, and then it cleared, and I got through. But just the sheer moments of terror as the smoke billowed in front of me was something to behold. But we are ready to go green here in heat number 2. The leader is really holding him there, is Jack Moffitt, but now he is set off. The field all in a bunch there. That is everybody pretty much in one stretch of tarmac, but Moffitt leads them into turn number 1. Side by side for second, that is Chris Smorall and Sean Trediak. I believe it is Smorall on the outside. Yes, it is. And now they are 3 wide, 4 wide for second there. Now 3 wide once again. These drivers not afraid to put it all out there, even in this heat race. Perhaps a little more willing to put it out there in this heat race, knowing everybody's going to get through to the feature. You do want to get a sense, Marco, of how your car behaves in traffic, what you can get away with as far as positioning. Can you run the high line? Can you make the high line work? All stuff you got to figure out before you get to the feature race, the race, that counts. So there is something to be said for making some risky moves early on here, as we see Walter Kalata going for the lead of this race. I believe that livery is based off of Daniel Ricciardo's helmet, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's get closer on board. Let's see. I think certainly the helmet isn't, but he's smiling a lot, his helmet, just like Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh no, yes. I think that was one of his old helmets. I could have the driver wrong, but the livery is familiar to me. But anyway, Kalata is working that high line. He hasn't been able to clear Jack Moffitt, but he has, I believe, led the last couple of laps. So he can definitely make it work. And that's another one of those things, Marco, you talk about figuring something out for the feature race. If you can get to a point where you are leading across the line, even if you can't clear somebody, that's one that you file away and put in your back pocket when it comes to the feature race. I can make the outside work and potentially win this race, or get a higher position. Just something that works with your car and your setup.
Oh, we have a big wreck. Adam Wright and Dan Pagowski out of the running for this race, unfortunately. Now the leaders almost come to blows with Kalata and Moffitt getting very, very close. There is no substitution for some green flag racing. I mean, You can do all the testing you want on oval, but running into the traffic competitively, you can only do that in the race. Oh, and Lee's around.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's more trouble for Lee, and that makes the question of who will get through into the feature from this race a lot easier to answer, because we now have 6 cars who haven't had trouble, but that is a big wiggle there from Chris Morall in that number 14 car. He really got it sideways there and held on to it. That is just the beauty of these Skippies on the oval. They are at the limit of grip pretty much the whole way around this track, except maybe on the backstretch there as we see. So these guys are just fighting for what tiny amount of grip the tires will provide, as we see Smorall not deterred by his slide from the previous lap. He's making a move to the outside 3 wide for the lead, although he has to back out of it now and settle in behind Collada. Now he goes 3 wide for second, but it seems the big winner there might be Steve Dewar, who has worked his way forward up 4 spots from his starting position, but he sits stuck in behind Jack Moffitt at the moment on that inside line.
Here we go, we'll get 2 laps to go this time by. And it's anybody's game, this race. Moffitt, Kalata, Dewar, Smorol, Zubovic, Tretiak. Oh, and Smorol really looking for that outside again. Again, probably doing some testing for the race, as I think it's going to be Moffitt who takes the white flag. 1 more lap to go.
Yeah, these two have been super close over the line every time. It was actually Collada who led that lap, but he is going to have a tough time securing this win with Smorall trying to make that outside line work and succeeding to get alongside of Collada, and that seemed to kill his momentum a little bit. So it's going to be 3 wide as they head into turn 3 for the last time. Oh, I think there was contact there between Collada and Smorall. They both keep going, but that has pretty much, I think, handed the win to Moffitt, barely. Our timing is showing half a tenth, so it tells you how much was in it there. Lee will start from second in the consolation race. Pekowski and Wright will also have to set their positions in the consolation race, but my goodness. Collada led a lot of laps in that race, but not the one that counted. So he'll have to figure something out for the feature race if he wants to win that, which he, I think, will want to, as everybody does, of course. Do we have the results from that last one? There they are. Mike Bowers.
No, sorry. No. Because we are skipping the consolation. We have already the fireworks. So these are the results for it too. And then we go straight into the main event.
Gotcha. So here are your Heat 2 results. Jack Moffitt, your race winner by half a tenth over Walter Collada. Chris Smorall comes home in third. Steve Dewar in fourth. Joe Zubovic in fifth. Sean Tretiak in sixth. Peter Lee seventh. Dan Pegowski eighth. And Adam Wright in ninth. So right you are, Marco. Evidently, the organizers have decided that 9 cars was not enough for the consolation race, since everybody gets in anyway. So we will head directly to the main event. And I need to take a drink of water, Marco, so if you could read our starting grid for us.
Sure enough, Mike Bowers takes the lead, will take the lead, and will bring us to the green flag. Jack Moffitt will be in second. Sammy Bridges in third in front of Walter Kalata. Jeffrey Decker will be fifth in front of the organizer, Chris Smorall. Carrington Wilmer will start in seventh in front of New Jersey's own Steve Dewar. Connor Tolman in ninth and Joe Zubovic in 10th. Gardner Stickney will start from P11 and Sean Tretiak in P12. And then we have Scott Dawkins in the 99, Peter Lee, Jack Ashane the 77, Dan Pagowski, Karl Dronke, Adam Wright, and in true Marco Barbanera tribute fashion, last, Chris Herrera. But you know, I've got great expectations from him, especially because he also went to the length of having the same rim color as me. The you know, magenta wheels are also one of my trademarks. So I'll be absolutely rooting for him in this race. You know, starting last is going to be tough. Please don't crash into the wall, everyone, as lights are out and we are ready to go green for the main event of the evening.
Yeah, well, Marco, of course, nowhere to go but up for your tribute car, so we'll hopefully see him moving forward. You may have noticed as Marco was reading through those names, a lot of the drivers where you normally see the team names, they had a charity listed. This is a charity race, and the winner will get $250 to the charity of their choice. Second place will get $95 donated to the charity of their choice. Third place will get $70. And of course, our heat winners also got $10 donated to their charities of choice. We take the green flag. It is Bowers who leads the field to green side by side behind him between Bridges and Moffitt. The pizza car prevailing at the moment. Decker also got a good jump. He is up to now third place as he pulls alongside Moffitt for that position. Not able quite to clear him into turn number 3 already. These laps go so quickly at Iowa, Marco, don't they? It is a short oval, but it really races like a track that is considerably bigger.
Yeah, and you can see again Smorol. Oh, there's someone spinning his Jack Moffitt, and he saves it, but there is a collision there with Chris Morrill himself, and we have a caution. First of the night. Oh.
So we are going to have yellow flags in our feature race, and unfortunately, for series organizer Chris Smorall, I think he was the innocent bystander there. It was the car ahead that got sideways. Now we're seeing what happened to Carl Trunke here. So Carl had his own spin back in the pack. Doesn't look like he hit anybody. But in front of him, while that was going on, Smorall got tagged, turned up into the wall, and went for a bit of a ride there in his, I believe that's a,
Ooh, he went over.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like the tire almost got lodged in the track there, but I think that's a P51 Mustang livery on that Skippy there. But unfortunately, he's reset back to pit lane and is going to go a lap down, so he will not be saved by the caution. Although if we do get another, he might be able to get a wave around, hopefully. But
yeah, we don't know if we have. Well, I missed this bug. It was a staple of oval racing races on Apex Racing TV in the past. I haven't seen that in like more than a year. That on lap 3 everyone cycles back through the... I was very, very scared for a second. I can tell you that we have some takers. Peter Lee and Sean Tretiak are in the pits, but you saw all that movement there on the left side. It's okay, because it's still Mike Bowers in the lead, and the lights are still on, and so we will not go green this time by. Let's see if Tretiak can beat the pace car. He can.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision by those two, Marco, because I don't think that the tires are a massive factor, certainly not after 2 laps here. And I didn't see either of them involved in the 2 spins, so a bit strange, but they've made their way down pit road as the timing cycles through once again.
Because laps don't count under caution, that's why.
There we go. So, typical short track rules, laps under yellow don't count, which I am a fan of personally. You don't want to waste away too much of the race under yellow, so that would explain why you're seeing that. But the only thing I can't help but wonder, Marco, is if they perhaps thought they were going to be in the consolation race and only put in enough fuel for the shorter consolation race and didn't put the correct amount of fuel in. Maybe they had to pit for fuel, but not sure there. I didn't see if they took tires on their stop, so tough to tell. But light's still on the pace car, so we'll get at least another lap of yellow here. Smorall still sitting on pit lane, but the fact that these laps don't count under yellow is going to help him because he will remain just 1 lap down. and might be able to get that lap back later on in the race. He is now clear of pit lane, so he's gotten that car fixed up, which is good because it's a nice looking Skippy there. And he is back on track as the field is forming up too wide. So I would imagine, yes, the lights are off on the pace car. We will be going back green next time around. Bowers will lead them to the green at the moment. Just keeping track, remembering that 5 iRacing credits will go to the driver who moves up the most in the field. At the moment, that is Chris Herrera in the Marco Barbanera tribute livery, up 6 spots into P13, although he's changing around a bit as the field sorts themselves under yellow. But he is definitely our biggest mover of the race so far. As we said, nowhere to go but up. The pace car peels off back into pit lane. Once again, Bowers holding them quite a bit. I don't think he even went until the green flag was shown there, but he still gets the jump clear on Sammy Bridges in the pizza car in second. So it's been all clean air for Mike Bowers for pretty much the entire day. He had, I believe, led every lap in his heat race and been out front the whole time in that. So he is getting pretty comfortable with the view from the front, is Mike Bowers. But Sammy Bridges, I think, will want to say something about that as he is working right in behind Bowers. Bowers covers off.
Oh, caution.
And there was one car around and one car going through the grass. I didn't see anyone with major damage. Hopefully, people aren't too bent out of shape there.
I saw, I think, Wilmer. Yeah, he towed back to the pits. By the way, all the shenanigans with no laps not counting under caution, I think that maybe Smorol is still on the lead lap.
I think you are right, Marco. Yes, because I'm showing him ahead of a couple cars and on the lead lap. Yes, so Smorol has maintained his lead lap. Hopefully the same will be true for Carrington Wilmer there, but he is currently in the pits for repairs. We'll get a replay here to see what happened. Oh, yeah, that was building a long way back, I think. Steve Dewar was just having a wiggle on, and unfortunately there was nowhere really for Carrington to go. Tried to sweep around the outside, as did Herrera to better effect. But unfortunately for Carrington Wilmer, just got tagged on the right rear and went for a spin. I didn't think he had all that much damage, but he did tow back to pit lane, so he will have to take his fast repair and get set back on his way again.
Now, I see we are still on lap 3, which is giving me Groundhog Day vibes, because we have been in lap 3 for the entirety of the previous caution. I think
Yes.
we completed a lap before the caution came out again, but maybe not.
I don't know that we did. I think that was turn 3 and 4 of the restart lap. I'm honestly not sure. So are we showing lap 4?
It will go back to lap 3, I think, as soon as Bowers goes back to the top. I think.
Yeah, and iRacing is showing lap 3 as well. So
okay, perfect.
Evidently, we did not complete a lap there.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm a little confused as well, because I would have thought the same, Marco. But I think, well, according to iRacing, we did not. So only one complete lap in this race. That was lap number 1. Lap 2 and lap 3 were interrupted. So we carry on with things. I think we should get the one to green here, and we will see Bridges once again restart alongside Bowers on the front row.
Lifting and coasting for Mike Bowers.
Well, yeah, with caution laps not counting, if
course.
anybody fueled their car a little closely, they could be in a bit of trouble. You probably would have wanted to put quite a bit of extra fuel in anticipation of the yellows here. So that could definitely play a factor in this. We have seen only the drivers involved in the wreck and the 2 who stopped on the first. So nobody came down pit road this time besides Carrington Wilmer. So at the moment,
there we go. We have a pit lane component in the overlay which I mistakenly had off. So from the next time, if someone gets into the pits, we will see in the bottom of the screen. Okay, let's go racing again. Remember, we have a 45-minute hard limit on this race. So even if we get stuck on lap 3 forever, we should get the race done.
That will break us out of Groundhog Day. Oh, that was a much earlier jump from Bowers that time. So clearly he is calculating with his attempts and trying to keep Bridges on his toes, and he's done so quite successfully. So Bowers scoots away into the race lead once again. Bridges settles into second place with Collada and Decker side by side for third. Collada, after his strong performance in Heat Race 2, will be looking to move forward. A bit surprised.
Pizza car. Whew.
Very close quarters racing there. It's interesting how the field is split. So we've got the top 4, and then we've got 3 more. That's Tolman, Moffitt, and Stickney all running together. And then basically everybody else is in a big pack behind them. So oh my goodness, what a gaggle of cars there, bobbing and weaving. I think I saw 4 wide for a moment. They're 3 wide as they head into 3 and get it sorted now. That is Herrera now looking to the outside of Dawkins for 8th place. There is Dewar, who is involved in that last incident. He's battling with Gowski, the Canadian in the field, as demonstrated by his livery.
Caution, big wreck.
Oh, and we were about to see, I think, Collada make a move for the race lead because Bridges had dropped back a bit. But let's see, that was Wilmer again and Adam Wright, who was involved in the heat race in an incident. Wilmer just essentially tried to bump draft Adam Wright through the turn. And it was the 25 car. Who was that? That is Peter Lee, yeah, who was also involved as a late party to the scene. Yeah, just couldn't quite avoid it.
Yeah, it's not very easy for those not very into this, but slowing these cars and moving them while trying to brake on an oval, well, even on a normal racetrack. These skippies don't like to be jerked suddenly, to one side or the other,
Absolutely. Yeah, and, he's already going through the corner. He was already in the corner when the wreck started, and he's carrying as much speed through the corner as he can. So to try and scrub that speed off is quite difficult. So that's why Peter Lee got caught up in it. Carrington, Wilmer, and Adam Wright as well. I would imagine... I don't know how many fast repairs these drivers have, actually, but that may take... they have 2 fast repairs. There you go. So Carrington Wilmer is on his last legs. We did, fortunately for Marco's sanity, complete a few laps there. We are no longer stuck on lap 3. Instead, we are on lap 6. So
because from Monday here in Italy is going to be Groundhog Day again, because we're going into a 3 weeks lockdown, just like last year. So it's getting, I was getting bad vibes from the race being stuck on lap 3, So.
Yeah, well, here in the USA, we have daylight savings time tonight, so although it's going the other way, so we don't get the extra hour. The clocks are going forward, so.
But
the
great
kind
for
of opposite of Groundhog Day.
It's the 2 best weeks of the year together with the other 2 weeks when you switch back, because it means that every sporting event starts 1 hour earlier for us.
Yep. Bit
Not this race.
Not
this race. This series always started at 3 a.m. for me. And still starts at 3 a.m. even today.
Yes, it is not the Sunday night skippies for Marco. It is the Sunday morning skippies, I suppose.
No, Saturday morning.
Is it set?
Oh no, it's Sunday morning. Oh,
It's Sunday. I was reevaluating my my sense of time there, Marco. Goodness.
No, it is Sunday morning, yes.
Yeah. But lights are out on the pace car, so we should see the field start to form up too wide here. As we hopefully will see lap number 7 begin shortly. That is Peter Lee rolling now on pit lane.
Ooh, you almost.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter whether he beats the pace car out or not. Well, the only thing that will matter is whether he's on the back of the pack in time. He actually might have been better off just letting the field go through, because then he could slot right onto the back of the pack instead of having to race around and catch them. And imagine he will. It's not a particularly long track. But...
See, because he scored in first, hopefully it's a mistake and he has to just wait for the
I think it'll cycle
update.
Back around.
No, it...
Maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
Here we go.
Bowers once again gets a somewhat early jump. Bridges once again slots in right behind him. I kind of get the sense that Sammy Bridges wants to ride this whole race out tucked up behind Bowers' back bumper, because that's where he has been all day, aside from the brief moments on the restarts where he is alongside. But oh, he is about as close as you can get in a Skippy to Bowers' rear bumper. Not that these cars have bumpers, but you know what I mean. There is Decker working the outside, and Collada, who we saw working the outside to great effect in heat number 2, making a move for the race lead, and we have a car around. That is Tolman. Tolman going for a big spin, and he has big damage. So we will enter our 4th caution period of the race.
Oh, no.
And, oh, no. Herrera with damage as well, so that is going to reset all of the progress that car had made. He will find himself back in the field now as he is limping around back to pit lane. He might be better off just towing at this point, considering the laps don't count, but we will get a replay of what happened here.
Oh, one went up, one went down.
And just a little wheel-to-wheel contact was all it took to send those 2 cars around. Well, send the 1 car around and give enough damage to force a pit stop for Herrera. Oh, and a little bit of net code as well. Just unfortunate. It's the nature of the close racing you get in these open wheel cars, but unfortunately it has put us back under yellow. I wonder if we have anything besides this. Nope. Just the cars who were involved in that wreck have come down pit lane, so everybody, at least at this point, must be good on fuel. Though if we have too many more cautions, it is going to get a bit close. We will also keep an eye on that 45-minute time limit for you once this becomes a timed race. That will potentially come into effect. I know...
Sorry if I'm trying to give a seizure to someone, but Steve Dewar had an amazing escape, moment of, quick reactions.
Oh. Goodness, that is quite the situational awareness by Dewar there to get clear of the spinning Tolman. That was hairy to say the least. Now, what I am interested to see here, Marco, once we get this thing back going, is Walter Collada has probably been the most effective in that high line that we've seen all night. And he will be lining up there to restart this race. He won't have to work his way up there. So I think that Mike Bowers is going to face the toughest challenge that he has faced so far in Collada on the restart. As we still on? Yes, they are. So we're going to have at least a couple more pace laps here. Currently working minute number 19.
Sunday night is pizza night here at Casa Barbanera, so I'm already getting, now that I also realized it's Sunday, I'm already getting excited, even though it's like almost well, it's 3 a.m., 3:45 a.m. Pizza comes at 8 p.m. usually, so it's a fair few hours away. But you know, now I'm already excited, especially looking at this beautiful car.
No pepperoni though.
You can get pizza with salame here in Italy. Salame being, you know, the singular of you know, salami, which is 2 or more. But usually it's with spicy salame,
Yep.
and we call it the devil's pizza. It's very, very popular.
I bet. I wish I could have some of that right now.
Which is basically a margherita pizza, so cheese, tomato, with spicy salame on top of it. Good stuff.
Now, margarita pizza where you are, Marco, is the tomato in like a crushed up so it's like a sauce, or is it more, you know, slices of tomato?
Tomato sauce, 100%.
Okay, good. That's my preferred option. But yeah, obviously I'm a, well, perhaps not obviously, but I am a New York pizza kind of guy. I have not been fortunate enough to sample real Italian pizza, but I have had my fair share of New York pizza.
Well, from
though
what
not,
I've seen,
not nearly enough recently.
From what I've seen, I watched a documentary about the expansion of pizza in the US, and from what I've gathered, New York style pizza is the one that looks the closest to Italian pizza. Also because it was the first place where it became, you know, it was exported first, exported quote unquote. New York was the first place where really Italian immigrants started popularizing pizza, so it makes sense that it's the least different, you know, at least looking at it. Never had it.
Yeah, you don't have to sell me on New York pizza superiority, Marco. I am long since sold on that, but I think we're about to have some racing here, so we'll save the pizza talk for the next yellow. But the pace car pulls off. Bowers is away, but he is not clear yet of Walter Collada, who got a good jump. He now tucks in just right in behind Bowers. We'll see if he jumps to that high line that he's favored so strongly today. At the moment, staying right in behind Bowers through turns 1 and 2. Now he jumps to the outside, gets a good run. He's going to be side by side as they head into turn number 3. He's really got the hang of that line. We'll see the run he gets and if he is leading this race across the line. Yes, he is. If that had been our last lap, Walter Collada would have been your winner. They got very close to touching there, but fortunately did not come together, and they remain side by side. Ooh, Bauer slipped up, and we have another yellow as we see more cars spinning. Dan Pagowski, Jake Shea. Oh dear, that's going to be faster pair number 2 for the Marco Barbonero tribute livery. Marco, how many faster pairs would you say you typically used in the Skippy race?
I mean, I tend to use only one because that's the most we get. But sometimes I would need to.
Well, certainly Chris Herrera has needed both of his faster pairs tonight. Oh, and once again, it was a bit of netcode. Dan Pagowski just slipped up. They were 3 wide, pretty tight there. And Herrera seemed to get the worst of it. We'll get another look at it here. This is Jake Shea on
2 separate crashes.
It was, yeah. So that was, who was that? That was Dewar who got into the back of a Shea. Doesn't look like he has too much damage there. Certainly that was the smaller of the 2 incidents. Here's the onboard from Dewar's perspective. Yeah, just another case of somebody trying to bump draft through the corner, and unfortunately not recommended in Skip Barber cars at Iowa. Not the fastest way around the corner.
Yeah, bump drafting on the straights on road courses is fun, and even though with the new damage model you need to be a bit more careful than in the past. You could really, like, especially you know, Monza, Spa. It was like, you know, tandem drafting all the
Yes.
way. But with the new damage model, I noticed that with the new with the old damage model, you could lose the front wing and still be okay. But now, really, even though this is a mechanical grip car first and foremost, I was doing a race in the official series at Mosport a few weeks back, and one of the laps I was a bit too aggressive on the exit curb at Moss Corner, and so I heard a weird noise midway through Moss Corner. Then I took turn 1, the car understeered quite a bit, I went with left wheels on the grass and met an untimely demise on the right side wall coming out of turn 1, and then looking at the replay waiting for the tow and the faster pair, I noticed that that strange noise I heard was my front wing going under my car after I dislodged it running hard on the curb at Moss Corner. So as I was wondering why was my car so understeery all of a sudden, that was the explanation. In the past, you could really compete with no issues without the front wing. So of course. Oh man, we have a. Oh, I think this is a rare Scarlett Toad, and it's
Producing
making
quite a bit of smoke there on
yeah
pit lane. Yes.
barbecue effect on the front row, which I think adds to the atmosphere. When you have several cars with blown engines waiting in the pits, it can really make for a nice smoke show every time you go past the start-finish line in these short oval races. Oh, there he is.
We were, some of the friends that I race in leagues with were doing a fun practice day, track day at Oran Park in the Legends cars the other day, and we at one point several of us just stopped and started doing donuts on the track and created a successful full smoke screen of the track with just the smoke that those little cars produce. It was fun driving from on the main straight. We were down, if you know Oran Park, down on kind of the other side of the bridge before you head up over it, and you could see just columns of smoke towering next to the bridge. It's I think it's pretty clear through this broadcast that we are all fans of the new smoke model.
Again, makes me think back of the days of NR 2003. I know you are, of course, a big fan as well. The only thing missing again is the smoke staying there for like 3 or 4 laps.
Yes.
I think we are good to go. Yes, we are. As we say hello to Nick and, of course, our colleague Jonathan Grabowski in the chat, enjoying the pizza talk, which is great.
I mean, who doesn't enjoy pizza talk, to be fair?
And we are ready to go green again.
Indeed we are, and it is actually Collada who has scored the leader. I had missed that, but Collada is your race leader, and he got a great jump. Bowers finally not controlling the field, did not, and he is going to lose second place to Bridges there. So now it'll be interesting to see what Collada can do with control of this field. We've seen him work the high side to great effect. What does he do if he is challenged on the high side? Does he defend up there, or does he stick to the inside, which seems to be the quickest way around? We haven't really seen a race leader. Oh dear. Oh, and I see Herrera in it once again. Dawkins, I believe Pagowski might have been involved again as well. So a number of cars caught up in this one. Let's see, it's Dawkins and Herrera so far have reset to pit lane. I believe that is going to be the end of Herrera's day. He has already used his 2 faster pairs. An unfortunate end for the Marco Carbonero tribute livery. But what happened here? Oh, yeah, just too many Skip Barber cars in too small of a space. Looked as though Dawkins was not so much the innocent bystander there, just maybe squeezed a little too tight for being up top 3 wide. as that was the 38 car of Carl Donka, who just ran a little bit wide, as these cars are so wont to do. We see Pagowski and has just come into the pits once again as well, so he definitely sustained some damage in that, in his Canadian liveried car.
Someone almost got hit with one of the wheels. I think Pagowski did. And of course, now iRacing has made some changes, but after a few tenths of a second, the breeze become basically transparent. But in the past,
well, no, they become solid out. They're transparent for a few tenths of a second, and then they become solid. So it prevents if there's an issue where one person's client server sees the wheel fall off, but it didn't actually. They could get damage from a wheel that wasn't supposed to be there. So it becomes solid after a certain amount of time. I haven't done all that much racing with cars with the new damage model, but again in a GT4 race at Hockenheim, actually it was that same big wreck where I got to test out the new smoke. Somebody evidently lost a wheel in that wreck, but I didn't realize until the next lap when I came back through, heard a thunk driving down the straightaway, and suddenly saw a wheel disappear off the side of my car. It was not mine, it was somebody's that had been left in the road, but nobody had warned me about it, and I evidently wasn't paying enough attention to avoid it. So that I suppose that is realistic in that tires do not cease to exist after a certain amount of time. they can definitely cause some damage. So
Bridges and Calata went for a stop, and interesting call.
I would bet they were short on fuel. That is the only reason I could see for them to give up the positions that they had. They were not stopped for long, so I don't think they had damage. Just taking on a little bit of extra fuel, I would have to believe.
Listen to the lift and coast of Bowers, who is the effective leader right now. We are on lap 11 out of 20, but we also have just a touch below 15 minutes left. So it also comes to trying to think where do you bank your chips, if you bank them on finishing on laps or on time at this point of the day, no? So or the night, I should say. By the way, just a realization I had watching one of the onboards. We have no moon model on iRacing, which is very upsetting, especially in the dark nights, that are not illuminated. But man, that blimp is properly illuminated, So the blimp is basically our moon.
If you've ever seen the Goodyear blimps or the Goodyear Zeppelins as they are now in real life, they light up astonishingly brightly with the big panels on the side. It's quite a show.
I've seen the Goodyear blimp in once, but it was during the day, and it was shocking because I was not expecting it, and it's basically early 2000s Italian TV flirted with the idea of aerial coverage for soccer games, and so that night there was a big game here in Rome, and so during the day we had the Goodyear blimp fly next to
Marco,
the stadium.
we are about to go back green here. We
file.
have switched to we have switched to single file restarts. I was just about to note that. Also, Walter Collada posting in the driver chat that he was low on fuel, so that is the reason for his pit stop, presumably for Bridges as well. But we are back green, single file restarts from here on out. Bowers leads the field ahead of Decker, Moffitt, Tretiak, Dronka getting ahead of Stickney there. Now Stickney back around Dronka. They are side by side. Moffitt looks to the inside of Decker for second, and I think he is going to hold that position as they head into turn number 1. So we'll definitely want to keep our eye on Collada working his way back through the field. And Bridges, but those two are actually quite a ways off of the back of this pack, maybe anticipating another wreck and wanting to steer clear of it. We've still got 11 minutes left on the time limit, 7 laps left on the race. So still some time for things to happen here. So we are on board with Decker, who rides in 3rd place, trying to get to the outside of Jack Moffitt for 2nd. And he is there. This is a bit further back in the pack. It kind of spread out a bit more. I guess that's what you expect when you switch to single file restarts.
Yeah. Oh, I see some movement back in the pack. But all seems good. The slow car, it's Joy Zubovic. But apart from that, everything is okay. So we stay. Oh, 3 wide there in the back.
And that is Chris Morall working his way forward. He, in between Stickney and Trediak there, has cleared them. And Trediak's into the pits. Trediak evidently did not have enough fuel.
Caution is
His way
out!
down pit lane. Ooh.
What happened? Peter Lieb
Ooh.
is having big issues, so I think...
Yeah, I think we know who it was, at least. That is also Scott Dawkins in the pit lane, so would believe that those two were potentially involved.
Oh no, it was... No, this... Okay, this was... apologies, this was the previous caution. Okay, let's see now.
Oh, just lost it.
No!
Oh, and when he tried to gather it, that was... Oh, yeah, that was Zubovic and Dawkins coming together. Just nowhere to go for those two. Here is Dawkins on board. Tries to escape to the outside, but that is right where the the spinning car of Joe Zubovic was. Tough for those guys. They not really anything they could do there. As we said before, Marco, it's really you're already committed to the corner at whatever speed you're going into the corner at. It's so hard to adjust your line after the fact to try and avoid something. Here is Trediak getting the pit lane.
Yeah,
for fuel, presumably. So that is presumably going to be a penalty for him. He was probably going to be at the back anyway, since he had to pit under green. But the good news is he'll probably stay on the lead lap, which I would imagine would not have been the case had the yellow not come out. This is Dewar making a pit stop, so he is low on fuel evidently.
To finish the story on the Goodyear blimp, so my school was next to the stadium, basically, the Olympic Stadium here in Rome, so and it was Saturday, school day here in Italy. This still was back in dinosaur time, and we were playing soccer in the hour of physical education, and this big field, and we look up and we see this. I'm a big aviation fan, but I've never seen a blimp live in real life, and it was so big, and to think that they are barely, an inch as big as the great airships of the 20s and 30s. The Zeppelins and the the R101. The British answer to that. It really makes you think how big those were. And then, of course, the night I went to the stadium, and it was going over the stadium as well, providing aerial coverage. But unlike you guys, aerial coverage provided by the Goodyear blimp was not a big hit, and it was discontinued you know, quickly after that experiment.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of races which feature the Goodyear blimp, including one where there were two. One year at Daytona, they had two of them there. I don't honestly remember why. I think it was either when they were phasing out the blimps or when the Zeppelins were phasing in, and they had two there, which was kind of surreal, to be honest. I mean, you know, the blimps are surreal enough as it is, and then you get two of them in one place. It's just like, it's, you know, all when TV shows show the, you know, far future and everyone's got blimps for whatever reason. It kind of felt like that. Uh, but no, it's pretty neat. I mean, it's yes, I agree with you that it is such a mind-boggling thing that these giant airships, and to think that they're not even close to the size of the old Zeppelins and stuff like that. They're mighty impressive. But we are, I believe, yes, the lights are out, so we are just getting ready to go back green here. It's going to be very close as to whether this race finishes on laps or on time. We have about 4.5 minutes to go. It'll probably be about 4 minutes to go once they get the green. It's a quick lap here. It's only about 20 seconds, I believe. So they can certainly do it. The question is, will we stay green long enough? I'd imagine another caution will probably be the end of this race, as it's a big checkup by Bowers, really stacking the field up.
Dear.
And that's caused some trouble in the back of the pack, but everybody is going now. And look at Wilmer, who has jumped to the lead of this race. You're allowed to pass on the outside, I believe, once the green flag is out. So there's a potential that what he did was legal. We'll have to see if he pits for a drive-through penalty here in a second, but I believe that could potentially be a legitimate first place for Wilmer there, as Bowers got very sideways, and now we see Moffitt making a move to the outside. Tretiak has come down pit lane. Not sure what that is for, but Moffitt is looking for second place, but Carrington Wilmer leads this race after restarting not near the front. He is up 6 spots from his starting position as well. Now we see Bowers get through for that race lead, and I don't think Carrington's going to be able to hold it around the outside here as we come to 3 laps to go as they cross the line.
And if we have a yellow, we don't know if we are going to restart, so you want to gain as many positions as possible, you know, just to be safe.
Exactly, but also you don't want to be so aggressive that you bring out the yellow, do you? As we see Collada working his way back through the field. He's up to 6th place, but he's going to need a bit more than that. He wants to see the donation prizes go to his charity of choosing. There was on board with Smorol, who is tucked directly up behind Decker. Everybody is line astern here on the inside line. And pretty much on the high line, too. We've got a big wreck there. That is Tolman, and I didn't catch who the other car was. Stickney, I believe. Yes,
Is this
yes,
race
Stickney. Stickney is very much done. I don't think we're going to get this one restarted, but we'll have to see. I'm just trying to do my mental math because it's about a 30-second lap under yellow. I think they do 3 yellow laps. We might get 1 lap is all I can tell. It's going to be very close. So hopefully if the pace car picks the field up now, which it is, it's on the back stretch. Bowers will be really hoping that this does not go back green.
Sounds like he's out of that car. Didn't sound very healthy, you know. Like
I couldn't really hear it, but
on the back stretch.
yeah, well, I'm sure he'll be saving fuel for sure.
So this is not the end of the race, because we would have seen the checkered flag come out next to the drivers' names. So I will quickly very quickly go and check a replay of the crash and see what happened. Ooh, oh, that was a big hit.
Massive impact on the right side. Yeah, it explains the lack of tires or bodywork or anything on the right side of that car for sure. There is, oh, just a little tap on the right rear from the left front of Connor Tolman, and that was all it took.
Okay, so now we are technically in the final minute of the race. No checkered flag next to the driver's names.
No. Now, will the lights go out on the safety car is the question. No. So that's going to be it, for sure. Because by the next time they cross the line, it'll be... unless it has to finish under green?
I have had a race a few years ago, which was time limited on the ovals, and the caution came out with like 4 or 5 minutes to go. And we had no lap limit, of course. It was strictly time limited. It was way before the caution laps don't count, and iRacing let us have a little bit of overtime, basically a 1 lap shootout with a couple of minutes after the expiration time.
Interesting. Yeah, well, we'll have to see. It will tell us if the race ends, but...
if we go green, there will be no more cautions because it's the final lap, so it's going to be white flag and no way that the lights are still on. I have no idea what's happening, which is a very comforting thing to say for a commentator.
I think they might have broken iRacing at the...
Well, we can only wait.
Yeah, the drivers are giving no indication that iRacing is telling them it's going to go back green, but also the race is not over and they're well past the time limit.
Okay, back to lap 19 after a bit of hesitation.
Yeah.
I would assume the lights will go out right now.
Yeah. The lights are out. All right, so we are going to get 1 lap to finish this one. This is going to be very interesting. So will Decker
unless,
or Wilmer be able to...
unless iRacing gives us the white flag for the final corner of the race, and that's it. It has happened to me as well.
Yep.
So the F1 style pace car gets out of the way.
For the finish, yes.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, this is if we restart, it was worth the wait. If it doesn't, well, it was exciting nonetheless. Here we go.
Race car's off. Bowers accelerates. And we have the white flag, so they are going to get 1 lap. Decker's a bit of a ways back. He didn't get a super good jump here. I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything with Bowers. Let's see what sort of run he gets out of turn number 2. He's not particularly close. Looks pretty strong for Bowers at the moment as they head into turn number 3 on the final lap. It's a good entry from the 13 car of Decker, but he gets a bit sideways, and I think that's going to kill any momentum. Indeed, it has. So Bowers will cross your line as your race winner, followed by Decker, Wilmer, Smorall, Moffitt, Collada, Dronka, Dewar, and they're wrecking further on back.
It's Zubovic and Ashe. That was a big hit. And we have another wreck there. I think it's Demo Derby time.
Just about everybody, yes.
to celebrate the end of the season, Mike Bowers wins this race and will get to do the most difficult thing in iRacing, donuts with the Skippy. He wisely goes the... Oh.
Oh, and he's lost the nose cone.
As there is... okay, I was wondering why we had some big... yeah, there is... No, man. You need to really get at the proper angle, and even then, getting those wheels to spin... I think it's better to blow the engine at this point, if you want to have some
if
some
you want
smoke.
some smoke, yeah.
Yeah. You know, at least with the TCR, I've seen from real life that they do the donuts in reverse. And you
In
know,
reverse, yeah.
the grass is always a good choice. Congratulations to Mike Bowers, as I think we have your race results for the main event of the evening.
Indeed we do. Your race winner tonight is Mike Bowers after a pretty dominating performance starting from the pole. He secures the race win. Jeffrey Decker comes home in second, and Carrington Wilmer secures the last spot of the podium and the last major donation amount. Chris Smorall comes home in fourth, Jack Moffat in fifth, Walter Collada recovers to sixth place, Carl Dronka seventh, Steve Dewar in eighth, Jake Ashay in ninth, Joe Zubovich in 10th, Carter Stickney 11th, Sammy Bridges, after having to pit for fuel, comes home in 12th, Scott Dawkins 13th, Sean Trediak 14th, Connor Tolman 15th, Dan Pagowski 16th, Peter Lee 17th, Chris Herrera 18th, and Adam Wright in 19th. Well, Marco, I think we have some drivers queuing up for interviews. Do we have our race yet? I'm not sure we do.
Let's go and yeah, we have few drivers waiting for us, including a mystery driver, Elgato con la pipa, which my great Spanish tells me is the cat with the thing that old people smoke. I don't know how to say it.
Well, let's bring in, while we're waiting for people in the waiting area to sort out, let's bring in Chris Smorall, since he does kind of put this whole show on. Whoop, and we lost him. Chris is the organizer here and fourth place finisher. Chris, are you with us?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear.
Great. Congratulations on your fourth place finish and on putting on a excellent event tonight. Obviously, we want to talk to you about your race, but first of all, if you want to just kind of fill us in on what everyone was racing out there for today and what you were in particular racing for your charity.
Yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. I mean, that's really why I wanted to swing by. Obviously, first of all, to thank you guys for putting on a heck of a show this whole series long. Obviously this was a limited run. We're already talking about potentially trying to do this again next year, raise even more money next time for all of our charities. But right now, I think we're just all excited to go back and kind of reflect on how it all went. But this all started. We have the Sunday Night Skippy League, and which you would imagine we race these skippies on Sunday nights. We follow the official schedule. It's a very active and thriving league community, and we decided to branch out a little bit, kind of got a wild hair, and then I think it was Jack Moffat was the first guy to put his hand up and say, hey, you know what, let's make this interesting, and let's make this a charity event, and I'm going to throw down, I think it was $200 to the winner of each race. And after that, everything just started flowing, and people started raising their hands and really, putting their support behind it. And it ended up in what you see today. And I just couldn't be more thankful to all the folks who donated, and everybody got to pick. What I really liked about it is everybody got to pick a charity of their choice. They had some fun with the paints for each of the cars that we ran. We got outside our comfort zones and tried different things. So the show wasn't always fantastic, but we had a lot of fun doing it and getting the word out. We got to talk to each other and on your broadcasts about all the charities that are near and dear to our hearts. So, me personally, I was racing the entire series for the V Foundation, BRCA Research, and that hits me home personally. Uh, with specifically with my mother, and I just was very thankful to be able to get the word out there and raise some money for the V Foundation, and put that toward research into the BRCA gene mutation, and hopefully they can. It's a little bit, but do something with that and make the world a better place. And yeah, that's really it. I just wanted to thank all the drivers as well. This is nothing without all of them showing up and putting in the practice. Obviously, this race we would have wished for a few less cautions. We learned a lot from a lot of the races. I think we'll make some tweaks if we do try to this again next year. But when the racing was happening, it was fantastic and a lot of fun. So yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it certainly seemed like a blast, and I'll just ask real quickly what what the race was like for you. Obviously, we've just seen your little incident, a bit of an innocent bystander moment there, but certainly it looked exciting from inside the car. What was kind of the plan of attack for you, and how did you work your way back up to fourth?
So the toughest thing really was the cold tires on the Skippy. I'm sure you guys talked about her. That is very unique. Well, not it's not unique to the Skippy, but for this race, it is just such a difficult car to handle until you get the tires warmed up. And so you really had to have done the laps prior to this. You, I think some people would think, oh, I just show up in this car and I turn left and that's it. But you really got to get a handle on how to be fast when the tires are cold. I think that was the big difference between who was at the toward the front and who was toward the back. That was because once the tires warm up, yeah, you can throw that thing around wherever. I was really hoping to see in some of the practices we had done, we really got that middle and outside lane moving and viable as a passing strategy. But that required some green flag laps and all that. So I don't think we ever really got there per se. But yeah, my strategy was just to survive really and kind of figure out where that was going to leave me at the end, and that just making it there was clearly the biggest boon for anybody. I started with a full tank of fuel. There was a lot of people concerned with their fuel runs because they had planned it to carry as minimal amount of fuel as possible. And then with all those caution laps, obviously that kind of threw their plan out the window. But I didn't really have that concern. But yeah, I don't know. It was a really good time, just trying to survive and try to put yourself in a good position at the end. So that was just my only strategy going in there.
Awesome, Chris. Thanks again for coming to talk to us. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we say goodnight to you here?
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, to you guys, thank you for what you do. Thank you to Sunday Night Skippy, the league as a whole, for showing their support. I think we've got some viewers out there. To the drivers, obviously, but most importantly, my family. They support me in doing all this, and I just love them and really appreciate that. Obviously, my parents and my mom as well, kind of the inspiration for the charity that I chose. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully we'll see you guys maybe next October.
Well, awesome, Chris. Thanks so much, and we'll hopefully see you then. Congratulations again on your fourth place finish, Chris Smorrell.
Thank you very much. Have a great night, guys.
And Marco, I am going to drag in our third place finisher, Carrington Wilmer, while I get the rest of our potential interviews sorted. If you want to take a chance and talk to Carrington.
Oh, sure enough. Carrington, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on the podium. How are you doing after such a tough race?
Doing good. That was a lot of fun, and hopefully everyone else enjoyed it, and it was all for a good cause.
Yeah, I mean, personally, as a former, my highest achievement in iRacing, as the viewers have heard countless times tonight, was racing in the Skip Barber 2K Oval World Championship. So I had a tear in my eye. This stuff is fantastic. I can imagine And I was so happy to see you guys go at it and really dispel the notion that driving the Skippies on short ovals is boring and easy. That's seemed to be quite the opposite for you guys.
No, it was the car was a handful, and we never had truly enough laps to get full temp into the tires. So I mean, I was having to lift every corner.
Yeah, and basically almost every car, including yourself, if I'm not mistaken, had to take a trip down pit road to get some repairs at some point. But you were at the right place at the right time, I gather, in the end. That final restart, you guys at the front seemed to be a bit disjointed, and so there was, I mean, one lap maybe is not enough to create a run, but it was just from here, but it looked like on the final restart you guys were a little bit too spread out when the green and the white came out at the same time.
I had no pace to be up front, so I was just happy to get third. Because, like I said, I went from like P9 to P1 on the one restart, and so I was just trying not to wreck.
Yeah, good point about that restart. It was a beautifully timed restart. The leaders were playing games, and you, of course, as soon as you saw the green, you went for it, and it paid big dividends for you in the end.
Yeah, it definitely helped. I'm so used to an IndyCar, all the guys start along the wall, so you can't jump on the outside. So I was very surprised to see that not being done.
Well, Carrington, it has been a pleasure commentating on you not only tonight but throughout the rest of the championship. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank?
I just thank Chris Morrow for putting all on. Like I said, we raised a lot of money for great causes, and everyone had a good time. So, and I appreciate obviously y'all doing the broadcast as well.
Thanks a lot. Well, enjoy the rest of your night, Carrington, and hopefully we'll catch you for the next season here on Apex Racing TV. Thanks a lot again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Y'all have a great night.
And that was Carrington Wilmer. And just, of course, as he leaves, unfortunately, the replay shows poor Carrington getting pancaked with the wall. But he's a student driver. Please be aware. Beginner driver, sorry. Please be patient. I think we have two more waiting for us, dear Tyler, as for it. And I think we have the rest of the podium, basically.
Yeah, so I'll continue working back to front here. So we've got fourth covered, we've got third covered, and now our second place finisher today, Jeffrey Decker. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, that was an interesting race. I feel like it was hard to get continuous running going, but it was good fun when we did.
Yeah, it certainly looked to be quite hectic out there. Seemed to really pick up the level of intensity from the heat races. What was your plan going into that? Did you expect it to be a bit more green flag running, or were you prepared for it to be as hectic as it was?
I was not prepared. Otherwise, I probably would have taken more fuel going into the race. So I had maybe half a lap at the end of the race, whereas I started with a 10-lap buffer, thinking that's plenty for any of the cautions. So yeah, things were very touch and go there at the end, but the perfect amount of cautions, I guess. But yeah, no, I was expecting a lot more green running based on the practices and even the heat races. I thought we'd get a little bit more, but yeah, no, luckily I stayed in front of all the craziness. But yeah.
Yeah, we seem to see the Highline not really able to kind of get into the groove there with kind of the short start-stop runs, and it kind of seemed to be a matter of you needed the track position if you were going to beat Mike Bowers, and nobody really had it all day. So was there anything you could have done on the outside, or did it just need more time to kick in, do you think?
Yeah, it definitely needed more time. It probably needed 4 or 5 laps before you could really start making the Highline work. You just need the tires to warm up enough so that you could keep it pinned around on that part, and then you kind of get to work with a side draft on a little bit better run out of the corner to try to beat him to the start finish. But yeah, you definitely need quite a few laps for that to work.
Gotcha. And Jeffrey, do you want to tell us what charity you were racing out there for?
Yeah, I was racing for World Resources Institute. They basically just do a bunch of different research to try to help with the world's natural resources, to try to make sure that everyone has a planet to continue to live on.
Well, fantastic, Jeffrey. That is awesome. And congratulations once again on your second place finish. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Yeah, just my wife for waiting to eat dinner with me tonight. Yeah, I told her this would take a little bit less time. Yeah, and then just all family and friends who always support me. Yeah, it's always nice when they pop in and give a view. And then thanks to you guys as well. The broadcasts are great to watch back. And yeah, I look forward to the commentary on this one for sure.
Well, fantastic, Jeffrey. Great to talk to you. Thanks, and congratulations once again on your second place finish, Jeffrey Decker.
Yes.
And we have just one more person to talk to, and that is our feature race winner. If we can get him sorted in here. Mike Bowers, you there?
Yes, I am. How are you guys?
We are doing great, Mike, and I imagine you are as well. That was a pretty dominant performance out there.
It was pretty fun. I had a feeling, being that we aren't oval drivers for the most part, that it was going to be kind of a caution-filled main event, and it was, and it worked out because I kind of set the car up to be good on short runs, and it appears that that was a smart thing for once in my life.
Well, certainly, I'm a bit curious what you can actually do in the Skippy to set it up for short runs. I know, it's a pretty tight box as far as setup options. You don't have to divulge your setup secrets, but what was your tactics for getting the car to work on the short run, because it's certainly paid off out there?
Well, just like most cars, I was using air pressure as spring rate, and I don't know how that works in iRacing, but I messed with left side pressures quite a bit in order to change the balance, where I was able to hook the car on the bottom pretty easy, and it was still fairly free in the center, and using a little bit of shifting to make it rotate a little bit, and it ended up paying off. It worked out, and I only gave up a little bit off of what I'm only guessing everybody else was running for a setup on a long run, but I kind of had a feeling that if you were able to hook the bottom and stay there, it was going to be very difficult to get past. So I was using air pressure.
Very cool. Yeah, the main talking point seemed to be people not putting in enough fuel for what ended up being a 45-minute race. So how close were you to not making it to the end on fuel?
I was very close. So I was talking with another guy, and I was like, I think I ought to put an extra gallon in just to be sure, because we could have a lot of cautions. But I didn't. I wasn't that smart. So I ended the race with 0.16 gallons. So I had about 2 laps I could go. But after the first 2 cautions, I was clutching the car all through the pace laps. And then later on, when I knew it was going to get really close, I was shutting the car off. And it worked. I was using about 300ths of a gallon per lap under caution.
Yeah, Marco, eagle-eared Marco, spotted that the car sounded like it was not running at full steam under yellow. So
it was not running.
Yes, yeah, clearly he picked up on that correctly. So there were a couple of drivers who seemed to be trying to make the Highline work, but really it seemed to be just getting stuck to the bottom, as you said, getting the car to hook around the bottom. Was there ever any doubt in your mind that you might need to defend up top, or were you glued to that yellow line for
I wasn't leaving. I was not leaving the bottom, and I actually had more I could go on the bottom. I could actually run the left sides below there if I absolutely had to, but to make the car turn a little bit. But when Walter Collada got the lead, on a timed yellow, he was ahead on the outside, and I thought, oh, there went the race, because he was going to be able to hook the bottom. And then I forgot all about the oval rules. You can pass on the outside, and I was going so late on that last caution because I was out of fuel. So I knew, I couldn't go early, and Carrington come cruising by, but evidently he couldn't hook the bottom. So it worked out. It's good. And it worked out because Pop in the Shop is the coolest charity around.
I was just about to ask if you wanted to tell the folks at home what charity you were out there supporting today.
Well, it's called Pop in the Shop, and what it is a bunch of people get together, and they work with fatherless boys from ages 7 to 17, and they work on donated hot rods, like all the way back to 30s, 1930s, all the way up into muscle cars and everything, and they work through restoring and rebuilding these cars with these kids, and they spend time with them and just help teach them some values, and there's just something about a dad and a boy that's important, and there's a lot of guys around here that are stepping into that role and dedicating time and their knowledge of cars, and it's something the car is the piece, but the child is the focal point, and it works, and it's very, very cool. I actually haven't worked with them yet. It's been on my radar for like one of my next projects. So when we were doing the racing deal, I wanted to have something that was a charity that was around cars, and I found these guys, and after we deliver the check to them, I'm going to go visit with them and see how I could help. So it's very
Awesome.
cool.
Yeah, awesome. That sounds fantastic, Mike, and I'm sure they will gladly take the prize donation from tonight's race and the season. So, Mike, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go here?
Well, for you guys for putting us on the TV, even though it seems like we ran more caution laps than we did green laps for sure. But yeah, and just appreciate you guys coming out and making some awareness for these charities. And I certainly appreciate all the guys that put on, through Discord, and Chris setting up these races and putting his brain and his time and energy behind it in order to do something for a good cause. So it's just extremely cool that we can do something over the internet through these strange times to give back to people around. So I appreciate everybody that made that happen, and thank you again for putting it on the web.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much, and congratulations once again on your dominant performance tonight for the SNS Winter Challenge. Mike Bowers, your race winner, everybody.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Well, Marco, I think that does it for us tonight. That was certainly a full evening of racing with a little bit of pacing in there, but like I think everybody said, when they were racing, man, it was intense, and Mike sure had that bottom line hooked up.
Yeah, it was again, for me this was a very, very special broadcast, and it was for a great cause, and I think this is a fantastic idea the guys had at the SNS Winter Challenge for charity. And every race they did, I like that, not only, of course, important bit, the charity bit, of course, very, very important, and also the fact that these guys who are mainly Skip Arbor drivers on road courses challenged themselves once per month on different kind of cars and trucks combinations. We've had the stock cars at Daytona. We've had the GT cars and at Road Atlanta. We've had the dirt sprint cars at Eldora, and I could go on and on and on. The McLaren MP4-30 at Suzuka, that was a good one. So it was very, very fun, long, in terms of time span championship to cover, which made it the more, it's even, better. You get really, really, affection to the drivers, and you know that once a month you're going to have, even at this very, very late hour of the day, always looking forward to these races, and already cannot wait. Hopefully there will be season 2 next season, as the guys were saying, in October, of course. So we'll have to just, it's going to be a long wait. These guys take a long off season for this, but of course it's the Winter Challenge, and next week we are going to transition into spring. So I as a very, very, very not precise is not the right word, but pedantic person myself, I have to give it to them. This is the right time to stop, Tyler.
Absolutely, Marco. Yes, if you want to get as technical as you possibly can, this is pretty much the last weekend they can run the SNS Winter Challenge and legally call it that. So we hopefully will see them back here for season 2 on Apex Racing TV. But that'll be all for us tonight and for the season for SNS Winter Challenge. So thanks so much to everybody who was watching, for participating in the chat, and of course for participating in the races. For a great cause. I've been Tyler Newitt, along with Marco Barbonera tonight, and everybody here at Apex Racing TV. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.